develop in an environment that not only caters for their needs, but understands the reasons behind what their needs are. Looking at the impact that the environment and our practice had on children's personal, social and emotional development inspired me throughout the 4 years, and observing a child's emotional well-being has become a central role in our daily practice by using the Lumen scale for emotional well-being and involvement. I have got some information down there if anyone would like any. Also, learning about children's growth and development gave us a better awareness of children's development and has enabled us to identify potential children who require additional support and intervention. Combining this knowledge with the skills we have gained in leadership and management, we've been able to support many of our children within a multi-agency approach to enable them to learn and develop to the best of their ability as individuals, whilst also supporting the family as a whole. The foundation degree gave us the knowledge and skills to develop reflective working practices and enable us to think critically about our environment and the practices we use. The 3 years were hard, but each unit inspired me that little bit more and gave me the motivation and drive to want to learn more and more. Although this desire was also down to the fact we had motivational and inspiring lecturers, one in particular went that extra mile to help us, support us, which made the assignment writing that little bit easier. It wasn't all easy. Algebra and area calculation was horrendous to learn. Then there was good old Shakespeare to conquer. Val will finish this studying, even if I have to take a savage bull by its horns. And there were a few savage bull moments, I can tell you. We took our GCSEs one at a time alongside the foundation degree, figuring that maths would be the hardest. We started with that first, and we weren't proven wrong. It was hard, but we were really pleased to achieve a C. Then during our last year on the foundation degree, we took our English. I found this quite enjoyable. It gave me the necessary knowledge and skills to improve my writing, and this proved to be really essential during the last year on the BA Honours. And we were really, really pleased to have achieved an A star in our English. So, both of these GCSE qualifications have had an impact on my working practice. Maths has helped with the necessary paperwork that requires calculating percentages, something I found particularly tricky before, and since taking maths, the calculations when I pay money into our finance department have been spot on. So teaching the fine art of using a calculator is definitely handy. GCSE English has also had an impact on my practice. It's given an additional strength to my written work and enables me to structure the writing I do in my daily job more effectively. September 2011, we started on the BA Honours in Early Years Care and Education. This brought with it new challenges because we were jumping from level I to level H, which involved harder marking criteria. And we would be learning more about leadership and management. The first unit was developments in early years, which enabled us to look back over previous learning on the foundation degree and delve more into looking at how the curriculum and practices have changed over the years and identify how these changes have impacted upon children, families and early years provisions. Over the years, I've moaned every time we have a change in statutory documents and legislation, but by looking at the impact these changes have had on children, it actually makes sense. And even as a practitioner, it does involve, and even as a practitioner, it does involve more work for a short period of time, but it is well worth those changes. Many of the units on the BA Honours involve looking at management strategies, from change management and quality management, to mentoring, assessing and working as part of a team. I found some of this particularly tricky to understand at first. Business quality management systems gave me a particular headache. But over time and more input, it started to make sense, and I was able to look at the management practices we had in place and how these could be tweaked or changed to enable a better performance. Gathering opinions, developing action plans, creating a continuous self-assessment system that could be used as an active working process. These were just some of the things we introduced to improve standards and practice. In November 2011, the doorbell rang at nursery and I was walking towards the front door. I noticed that the lady was carrying a little card. As I walked closer, I could see one small word written on the card, which immediately became a big flashing word in front of my eyes: Ofsted. I've been through a few Ofsted inspections over the 18 years I've been in childcare, and each one was terrifying. However, this time I opened the door, checked the ID, and invited Mrs. O in. There was no panic this time, there was no trembling voices like there was last time. I couldn't quite believe it myself, because anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very nervous person. The inspection went ahead and we ensured that the inspector got to see or know about all the great things we do at Jelly Babies. As I was showing the Ofsted inspector around, I ensured that I pointed things out to her. I'd already made myself a list of things to tell her when showing her around, which ensured that I didn't forget anything. This is something I advised my room practitioners to do too. Throughout the inspection, I could feel the confidence that we were displaying, and telling her about what we do and why we do it felt good, because we had the knowledge to back us up. After what seemed a very long day for us, who were sharing with the Ofsted inspector everything that we do, and also for the Ofsted inspector listening and recording everything we do, we eventually were called in for feedback. We were taken back by the response we got from the inspector. She knew our nursery just as well as us by this time. She knew what we did, why we did them, and she observed how these impacted on the children and families that came to us. We were really, really pleased when she eventually told us that we'd made the judgment of outstanding across all areas. The hard work we'd put in for the children and their families had been recognised. This outcome was undoubtedly due to the changes that we'd made over the years from new knowledge and skills gained from our training. As Piaget once said, the principal goal of education in schools should be creating men and women who are capable of doing new things, not simply repeating what other generations have done. And I think that sums up exactly what this learning pathway has done for us. It has given us the tools to look at alternatives and strive for new ways to develop as a learning environment for children, families and practitioners. Liz and I are now currently halfway through our EYPS and should hopefully be finished in January. This is enabling us to embed our learning into our practice within a leadership approach. After this EYP assessment, which is in January, I will definitely be taking a much-needed holiday. So throughout this whole learning process, there were several keys to success. Supportive colleagues who have taken on board our different ideas and embedded them into their working practices. Supportive family and friends. I think I'm on washing up duty and ironing for the next 2 years to make up for it. Dedicated lecturers who go above and beyond their working duty to help and support students. And also early years for funding us, without which the training would